Immigration and forced labor, that unfortunately that does come into play and that does mix sometimes. And here I got a pretty good example of what probably happens more than it's actually spoken about or actually prosecuted, you know what I mean? And we had a situation here in San Diego County at it is a while back, by maybe 30, 40 years ago, when the strawberry actual farmer he called immigration on his actual employees, so he wouldn't have to actually pay them the actual last paycheck of the actual season. Yeah, it didn't go good for him. I mean, the whole community was outraged. The whole community was outraged, and it didn't go good for that actual farmer. And even when my dad was in his teens, he would actually take a bus up to northern San Diego and work out in the fields and come back the same day. They would get paid. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that he did a lot, but whenever he needed money, he would actually do that as a teenager. But according to this actual the federal grand jury, defendants charged in connection with multiple state racketeering conspiracy involved forced labor of Mexican agriculture H-2A workers. That's a sort of visa to actually come into the United States, work, and then return back to your country of origin. Okay. A federal grand jury in the Middle District of Florida has returned a six-count indictment against three defendants for their alleged roles in a federal racketeering conspiring that victimized Mexican H-2A workers who, between 2015 and 2017, had worked in the United States harvesting fruits, vegetables, and other agricultural products. The defendants participated in running a labor contracting company for H-2A agricultural workers called the Villatoros Harvesting, which functioned as a criminal enterprise. They subjected multiple Mexican agricultural workers employed in the actual Florida, Kentucky, Indiana, Georgia, and North Carolina to forced labor. They also harbored H-2A workers in the United States after their visas had expired for financial gain and committed visa fraud and fraud in a foreign labor contracting. So basically, they needed to go back home at the time when their actual visa expired, but they would actually keep them employed and actually, you know, uh, protected them, man, protected them from the actual from immigration. Uh, it charges this individual by the name of Vladimir, a permanent resident in the U.S. and a citizen of Mexico who owned and managed LVH, and this individual by the name of Christina, a citizen of the United States who worked for this actual company as a bookkeeper and manager and supervisor with a conspiracy under the actual RICO Act, actually. Uh, the conspiracy to commit forced labor, conspiracy to obstruct proceedings before department agencies and committees. Basically, she cooked the books or she hid the books from the government. And so apparently they um, they physically demanded out of these actual forced laborers. They victimized them, they coerced them, uh, they imposed actual fictitious debts on them. Like, oh, we'll help you get a job, but you have to kick back, and they actually confiscated actual documents so they wouldn't be able to leave or come, be about, you know what I mean, in town, and they actually forced them to live in crowded, unsanitary, and degrading living conditions, as well as yelling at them verbally, threatening them with arrest and with actual um, criminal acts. Just fictitious criminal acts that they actually committed when they didn't commit anything, but they would actually, you know, make that up. And then they would actually prevent them from actually having any kind of uh, how do you say it? Any kind of interacting with the actual public. They would not allow that, and they would actually tell them if they didn't comply with the actual demands that they would or their family be hurt. So I'm glad that they actually took this actual company down because I mean you're already coming in and you're working for cents on a dollar to being taken advantage of, and then to be taken advantage by another company that's actually going to help you get work or even actually have a monopoly on certain agriculture fields, and that's not good. That's not good, and all the actual farmer just is just focused on having labor, and they don't really want to know exactly how they come upon this labor. You know what I mean? If they're being kidnapped or being forced to pay out the crossing debt, you just never know. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.